It's not chockers, but I'll hang on to him because yeah, I really wanted to get a crab and do a bit of a cook up. So that's a rip snorter of a crab, hey? Get a load of that big hooah. Wow. Now that's a good crab. Well, that looked nice and yummy. One batch down, one more batch to go. Beautiful. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Just about to go on a little crabbing mission. I spent yesterday putting a little bit of a rack together, so I'll give you a bit of a look at that before I head off. There we go. Just threw a little bit of a frame together so I could put the inflatable on top of the little red wagon that I towed behind the quad bike. It's made out of the framework from an old solar system I had on the roof, so it's all just bolted together. So yeah, I'll give it a trial today and see if it holds together. I'm not travelling very far, not out onto the road. I'm just cutting through a neighbour's property to put a couple of pots in. So got the outboard and all the crabbing gears tucked underneath there. I think I'll raise it up a little bit higher, I think, at another time. It's a bit awkward getting stuff in and out of there, although the inflator would be taken off when I want to get the gear out. But yeah, just something I'll look at down the track. So yeah, that's what I whacked together yesterday, just so I can get on this little crabbing mission and take the inflatable up this little creek I've got hidden down the back here. Righto, I'll get on with it and see if we can go and catch a couple of crabs. Hey guys, well, I've just started heading up this little creek. I'm on a bit of a tight schedule here. It's tidal, this creek, and to get up here I went through some very, very shallow water. So worst comes to worst, I'll probably have to sneak the little inflatable along to get back out of the creek, but that's okay. I've got the wheels on the back here, so it won't be too bad, and I won't have the weight I have now. So I'm just sneaking up here as far as I can. There's water up here all tide, but this morning's tide's not pushing much water into it, but tonight's quite a large tide, so hopefully that'll stir the muddies up a bit. I haven't got a clue what's around mud crab wise, but what the hell, don't have a go at it, you're not going to know. So anyway, I'll keep pushing up here as far as I can, and then I'll work my way back. Okay guys, this is the first pot. I haven't got a lot of water in this creek, so I'm going to have to be spot on with my timing in the morning, because it's yeah, I've just got up here. It's going to be a similar tide in the morning. I just don't like the way that pot's sitting there. I might just pull it in and just get it sitting a bit flatter, I think. Yeah, I still don't like it. I'm going to make it a little adjustment, I think. So yeah, that's better. I finally got it sitting a lot flatter than I first had it. On that run out tide tonight, it's going to be fairly floating. So I've even tied the pots to a bit of a mangrove in case it does push them out. I'm hoping it's not. It's sitting quite good there at the moment, but something you got to consider when you're you know, working these bigger tides, especially in narrow little gutters like this. There'll be a lot of run when that tide starts running out. It's always a stronger run out than a run in. But anyway, hopefully that'll hold its ground, and yeah, there'll be a nice big mud crab in the morning. All right, this is the second pot. I've just tried to get in here. It looks like could be a couple others crabbing up this way as well, so I'm just trying to be a little bit inconspicuous and hide them a little bit, because I'll be leaving them in tonight and not running them until this time tomorrow again. So anyway, that's two in. Yeah guys, I don't know what everyone else does when they're putting crab pots in, as far as, you know, where to put them. Those first two, at least there's a couple of narrow gutters up there, so they're a couple of likely spots, and I have caught crabs there before. As far as what's left of the creek to put a pot in, it's pretty yeah, bit of guesswork, a bit of luck. Yeah, I like to find a little patch of really green looking mangroves, real healthy looking mangroves near the bank. A little bit of depth in the water, which it doesn't really change through here. It's this creek here, this part of the creek holds water at all times of the tide. But yeah, I just have to consider that big run out on tonight's bigger tide. So make sure those crab pots hold and don't go rolling or taken off out in the middle of somewhere where I won't bloody find them. So anyway, I'll keep having a bit of a look around and find a couple of likely spots and yeah, and see how we go. This isn't too bad. I've got a nice strong mangrove to tie the pot off to. So if I get it out in the middle here, and I have got a crab around this area, well actually a couple of good crabs around this area, so. And I can tie this pot off to this tree here. Prepare for that run. Tonight, the run out tide should be fairly strong. And get that float back up in there a bit, like that. So that should be fairly secure there. Righto, where can we go with this last one? Spread it out a little bit, at least yeah, I don't know, 50 or 60 meters down here somewhere, I suppose. Find a likely spot. Maybe this bend. I don't mind putting crab pots on bends. They tend to follow, you know, the tide will push them along when they're traveling. So, you know, they're on a bend, it's going to be, the water's going to travel hard into a bend, so it's likely the crab might travel that way. Yeah, I like to feel that. A couple of meters of water. Nice strong mangrove to tie it onto to hold it in place on that run out tide. Beautiful. Alright guys, that's the 4 pots in, so the rest is up to the crabbing guides, I suppose, to see how we go. So I'm going to try and get back out of here the easiest way I can. So I'll tune back in when I get back home. Exited the creek pretty easily, just had to tilt the motor up a couple of times, but other than that, yeah, made it right back to where I put the inflatable in, so that was all good. And yeah, the little trailer, the frame I built to sit on, the little red wagon's going well. So anyway, I'll just let those pots soak overnight and yeah, get up in the morning and see if there's a couple of muddies. Hey, morning guys. Back at it just to check him today to see how he went overnight. I'm up a fair bit early. The water's barely starting to run into this creek now, so I've had to snig the little inflatable along for quite a way. But yeah, that's all right. It's nice and light, and I've got some little wheels on the back that I can put down and helps you go across the little bars and little areas where there's no water. So yeah. The run last night has affected these pots. This one here is really pulled back that way tight. I haven't pulled it in yet, so let's have a look at it and see how we're going overnight. Yeah, as you can see, it's yeah, pulled down the creek. So anyway, we'll just hope it's held up and not tipped over. It feels like it's sitting flat, so that's a good start. Yeah, I've got it tangled around. Looks like a big jenny. Might be another one in there too. Oh, might be a nice buck. Buck and a jenny. That's what we want. A nice buck and a jenny. Very good. Right, I just got to work out. Not a lot of room to operate in this little boat. Try and get this jenny crab out first. That big fella will just sit up in the corner there. It'll be nice. There you go. Alright, we can let her go so she can breed some more big bucks. Now for this big guy. Oh, good fella. Oh, he's caught on something. Bloody swimmer's caught on. There we go. Good fella. Just might be able to sit a rag over him to keep him quiet for a second until I'm ready to tie him up. The best it's not chockers, but I'll hang on to him because yeah, I really wanted to get a crab and do a bit of a cook up, so I'll just if we get better ones I might let him go. He's definitely legal, there's no doubt about that, but he's probably not absolutely chockers. Yeah, I'm going to run into some strife today. I meant to bring a little brown Hessian bag and another bucket, and oh, forgot everything. Just a bit excited, a bit keen to get down here. There you go, guys. Yeah, he's not absolutely chockers, but we'll hang on to him. He'd be probably 3/4 full, but yeah, definitely legal. Oh guys, that's a good start. One pot, one buck crab. So I'll undo myself off this limb here and sneak up to the next one and see how we go with it. My little tied up crab sitting in that pot nice and quietly there. I've just hooked up to the nose of the boat with this branch, so I'll just go up here, and this one hasn't been moved around, so the run here didn't affect anything, so it's good. Wouldn't have been disturbed during the night as long as no one's checked it on me and threw it back in the water. Whew. Too much debris here, that's why it's not going anywhere. Looks like just a tiny one in there maybe. Oh, look at that. Little tiny buck. I'll just throw him back in the water for a while. I've got my little keeper pot there. There's a bit of bait left in that one still. Don't want to have, like I said before, don't want to have too many in the boat because I've got to get up these couple of little narrow creeks up here. So I'll get this pot first so I can get to it. The last one's going to be the one that's going to... Oops, too far. See how we went here. The run certainly hasn't affected him. Oh, look at that big bugger. That's a bloody nice crab. That's a rip snorter of a crab, hey? Get a load of that big hooah. Wow. Now that's a good crab. He looks pretty full too. All right. Just got to work out a strategy now to get him out of there and punch a hole in my inflatable. It's a good crab. Whew. You little ripper. I should say you big ripper. Alright guys, this is where the last one is. I've barely got enough water to get up here. I'm sure that tide's still coming in for a little bit longer yet. It looks like that water's still moving up here, so I might tie this big guy first. Okay, hope he's nice and compliant like the other fella was. It'll be alright. He's pretty gentle. This guy here seems to be peaceful enough. As long as I can get him out the right way and hold him without him grabbing onto anything. There's nothing really on the bottom of the crab that can hurt the inflatable. But I'm really kicking myself for not grabbing that bloody plastic box I had to set him in, I tell you, because this is quite risky. As you know, they've got spikes on everywhere. Oh, he's strong, this one. He's really strong, this guy. Barely got enough bloody string, I think, too. There you go. He's quite compliant, which helps. One across there just to tighten everything up a little bit and poke him in with his mate there in that crab pot. He can sit there nice and quiet for me. It would be good. Oh. Hey guys, that's a bloody man-eater, isn't it? Hey, that's a good crab. That's a ripper. Wow. I don't know why I'm whispering, but yeah. Wow. Oh, I'll be happy if I only get 2. Don't need too many. I'm only up here for myself really, so 2 will be excellent. Anyway, I'll pop him in that pot there with his mate, and that should secure him while I grab this other pot. I can just see the top of it up there. Looks like it may have moved a little bit too by the look of it. Barely enough water. Certainly not really keen to get out of the water. Australia, I might be right. The tide's definitely coming in. That pot's even covered up a bit more while I've been tying that up the crab. Let's just see if something's got into here. The old tide's dragged it a bit last night too. At least it's still sitting flat, so that's a good thing. Oh, I think I've seen something in it too. Looks like another buck crab. Definitely. Well, that'll give me 3. Woohoo! How good's that? No worries with his legal size either. And a dirty little bloody toadfish as well. Let's see if I can get him in the bucket. You've got to be very careful where you put your pot. Make sure you tie them up like I have in the limb there, because if I hadn't tied this pot up, it could have ended up anywhere, tipped over, you know, and then you're not going to catch anything. So you really got to have a think about the tides you're working when you're crabbing. Righto. Get this lad out in that bucket, I think. I had a closer look at this fella here. He's really empty, so I'm going to let him go. I've got 2 good ones. One's a bloody ripper and the other one's 3/4, so that's plenty for me. I could take this guy, but yeah, no, I got enough. So hopefully I'll catch him in another month or 2 if it doesn't get too bloody cold up here. Righto, bloke. Where can I let you go? There you go. No point in taking a half empty crab home. Just nothing in them. Alright, I got to go and pick the rest of these pots up and get out of here. I don't think this tide's going to get any higher than what it is now, so I might have to do a bit of snigging the inflatable back too where I launched it. But that's all good. Anyway, I'll get going and head for home, guys. Now I got back to the launching area, all nice and safe. What about crabbing? It's a very, very muddy, dirty job. But $2, make it all worthwhile. Hey boys, all sitting in there nice and quiet. Nice little crabbing mission. These are these little wheels I was talking about. Just lock onto the back of it, and yeah, when I was snigging it up into the creek, I just had them down, and every time I come across a little sandbar, they'll just you just lift the nose up and they just roll across the top of the sandbar until you get into some deeper water, and then it floats along. Yeah, it works. They're detachable. Hey guys, got back home here. Going to take a little bit of cleaning up the little inflatable. Just going to put these guys on the measurer. Just I forgot to do it out there and let you know how good they were. This one here is going to go 165. That's the smaller of the 2 that I brought home. I actually caught 3. We'll let that half empty one go. And the other one's a real good crab. He's a ripper of a crab, this guy. Hard to measure like this. Just can't get it to grip on there. But he's going to be, I'd say 185 to 190. Yeah, could even nudge 190, that guy. So yeah, he's a real good crab. So I was happy. I would have been happy with 1, but to get 2, it's really good. So hope I can do a little cook up for you a little bit later on once I tidy this mess up here, and yeah, tune back in when that's all happening, guys. Okay, let's get this crab cook underway. Today I'm going to cook crab cakes with a dill mayonnaise. Honestly, I've never done it before, so it's a little bit of trial and error. I've done a little bit of preparation, obviously. Got some potato here, just boiled up. Ended up with a little more than what the recipe states it says about 500 grams, and yeah, I've got about 600 grams, I suppose, maybe even 700 grams of potato. Crab meat, the recipe calls for 500 grams, but I've got about 600 here. There was a couple of hundred more grams in this, but oh well, who can peel a crab without eating it? Certainly not me. So that's there. The potato is appears a little bit dry, so I might start off with a little bit of egg yolk in there, or beaten egg, and just work that in a little bit. I've got parsley, shallot, and some Dijon mustard, and lemon zest. I don't know whether anyone's heard of bush lemons before, but a lovely lady some years ago gave me a small tree, and we planted it here, and it's been bearing the last few years quite well. So big shout out to Merle. All right, so yeah, it's a bit like making a rissole mixture, I presume. I've made fish cakes before, so I suppose it's similar to that too. It's just finding the right consistency so it doesn't get too runny. So when you you know, put them in the pan and fry them up, they don't fall apart, they stay together. So it's just a matter of a bit of a balancing act here. So if it gets too wet, I've actually got some Jatz biscuits or crackers mashed up here. So I sort of just add a little bit of everything. Because I do have like a little bit more crab than what the recipe calls for, and a little bit more potato, I've upped the other ingredients a little bit. So hopefully it'll all come together right. I will place the details of this recipe in the description. So yeah, check that out guys if you want to have a crack at it yourself. I'm sure if I can pull this off, I'm sure anybody can really. I'm certainly no chef, so anyway, just a matter of, like I said, working this through and getting that right consistency. It still seems a little bit dry, so I've got to add a little bit of egg, I think. I've got some a little bit of lemon juice here too, which will help with giving us a bit of moisture. So I haven't even put in the jacks, the smashed up jacks yet. We'll just stir this around a little bit. I find it's an old bit of a trick I was taught years ago for mixing stuff in that's a little bit, you know, a bit gluey, is to use a butter knife. Yeah, it sort of mixes it through rather than just rolling it over. Mixes all the ingredients a bit more thoroughly. I don't know, dear old mum might have told me that, I'm not sure. Right, I'll just add some of these smashed up Jatz biscuits, as I think that'll act as a bit of a glue too with the egg. A bit similar to breadcrumbs maybe, I don't know. I use breadcrumbs in my rissoles when I make them, just to help glue them together a little bit. Actually that's made a difference. That's you can feel the knife's, it's a bit of a push to get it through. But if you go a little bit too far, like too dry or too wet, you know, I've still got egg yolk there if it starts getting too dry. And then I've got a bit more lemon juice there. I've still got to add the crab in yet, so I just want to get this started. You know, I think if you put the crab in a bit too early, it might you know, break up a little too much. I think it might be a bit more enjoyable to actually bite into a decent piece of crab meat rather than, you know, little fine feathery pieces of it. I hope I've got a big enough bowl here. It's turning into quite a large dish of contents actually. Smells good already with these ingredients I got in there. I've been accused of stirring things too much when I cook. But, anyway, certainly want all the crab meat in. I think it's like I said, it's more than what the recipe calls for. It's such a lovely flavoured meat, crab meat. I might even have to use that spoon just to roll it a little bit. Bit hard getting to the bottom. Feels quite sticky. I've still got to add some salt and pepper. I've got all the ingredients there now in there other than the salt and pepper. Just might add a little bit more lemon, I think. The bush lemons quite they're not as acidic as the smooth skin lemon. They're very thick. I remember when I was a younger man and I used to work on cattle properties, this one particular property had them growing wild in a river there. And when you were mustering, you quite often, if you run across them at the right time of the year when they're ripe, pull one off, and they're quite easy to peel because they're very thick skin. Yeah, and just eat it the way they are. I wouldn't say they're as sweet as an orange, but they're certainly not over acidic. That's the right word, or sour. Righto, I think I might start adding a bit of salt and pepper with that. Yeah, that's come along quite good. A little bit of salt. But that's feeling pretty good there. Oh, get back in there. I think they'll should hold together pretty well. Alright, I got a bigger plate here. Just need to roll them up into little flat sort of risole things. Something that can cook through. I'm pretty sure if the recipe said you'd make 8, I'm definitely going to have more than 8. So I'll keep making these. While I put them in the fridge, I'll make up the dill mayonnaise, and then we'll get them out and cook them back up. Okay, the dill mayonnaise is very, very simple. It's virtually a bottle of what is it, egg, whole egg mayonnaise the recipe calls for. So I think I bought a 335 gram bottle, so it's been in the fridge chilled. So all it requires is some parsley. Just on the parsley, I've used the frilly leaf parsley. The recipe calls for the flat leaf parsley, but I don't know whether that'll make any difference. But yeah, it's just what I had. And dill, I've just got a bottle of dill. Yeah, it's just a matter of mixing those couple of ingredients through the mayonnaise. Again, I use this knife, I find it's quite good. Just mix that through and then we'll just season it with some salt and pepper. It's alright, just a little bit of salt and pepper. Wouldn't go overboard with that. Stir that in. Very, very simple. Righto, I'll cover that and stick that back in the fridge, and then we'll start cooking up those crab cakes, guys. Okay, the recipe calls for a sunflower oil, but the only oil I ever use for any of my cooking is olive oil, so I hope it's not going to make any difference. Okay, let's place them in there. We'll have to do a couple of cooks. If I can get about half of them in the first go will be good, and the other half in the second. 2 batches will be good. Starting to sizzle a bit there now. There, 3. Might get one more in there. They're not sticking to the bottom, so that's good. I might just stick them back in the fridge. The recipe says a couple of minutes on each side, but I'll be just going on their brownness really. Another old trick is turning rissoles or any sort of patty or type meal is 2 spoons. You can grab hold of it. As in a pair of tongs, you're going to grab the side of it and toss it over. If you're using an egg flip, you've got to find room to get in there. With a couple of spoons, you can manoeuvre your way around in there quite easy, move them around. Might be a bit different if it was spitting everywhere, but it's not doing that. I can control the heat here. It is quite hot. I'll try and turn that down a little bit. Got a container there just with some paper towel on the bottom of it. Soak up some of the oil. They can drain in there until they're ready to eat. Righto, let's see if they're ready to turn. Yeah, starting to brown up. Ooh. May have possibly could let them go a little bit longer. Got away with it. Well, they look nice and yummy. One batch down, one more batch to go. Beautiful. Righto, we get the second batch on. I changed the oil. There was a lot of loose bits of crab and ingredients floating around in there. I felt it may burn before the next batch was cooked, so just thought I'd change the oil just to make sure I didn't spoil it. Not sticking. I just might leave them a little bit longer on this first side. I think I was a little bit too keen on that first batch. Come on over here, you big sook. Yeah. Smell good, my crab cakes, don't they? Alright, I'll give them a turn now. Yeah, that's better. Need to leave them a little bit longer, and I sort of got them a shallower fry this time too, less oil. Spoons work well. I reckon that'll do me. Beautiful. Give my pan a bit of a wash out. Alright, let's try this. The mayonnaise. And that's pretty good. Yeah, that's alright guys, I'd recommend that. If you want to do something a little bit different than just boiling up a mud crab. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Have a look in the description box guys and I'll leave the recipe details in that. So that's about it for me. I was hoping that the kids might have come down, but the son-in-law's just got off night shift, so he's probably sleeping, I'd say. So, but I've got a couple there I'll take up for him to give them a try. So yeah guys, if you like what you see, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Very good.